Hey guys, this is RolloutReviews with RolloutReviews bringing you another Bionicle review. This time it is the 2001 Tohunga. This name, of course, was later changed to McToran after a real-world event that happened between 2001 to 2002, where essentially the native Maori people of New Zealand didn't like the fact that the Bionicle franchise borrowed many names from their tribal Maori language. Whatever the case, these were early 2001 promotional McDonald's toys. They came in Happy Meals. And because of this, we coined these specific figures the McTorin. Essentially, all of these figures are exactly the same, the only differences among them being the printing on their discs, their Kanohi masks, and of course, their color scheme. At their core, however, they all share the exact same parts. Their heads are these dark gray faces here. It almost looks bearded, and unfortunately has no light piping, making it look a bit lifeless. Of course, their bodies here hold everything together. Their legs are attached via pin connections, meaning there is a rotation there, but that's about it. I always thought their legs looked a little bit like chicken feet, or maybe duck flippers. Their arms attach in a similar way, meaning there is a rotation there as well, but it only goes about this far. And really, that's your lot. They're very simply constructed figures. Now you'll notice that their arms look a little bit strange. They're actually made out of a more malleable plastic here, and that supports a couple of functions that each one of these has, which is incredibly impressive at this scale. The first of these is a punching gimmick. You can pull this back and release it forward, and they can kind of punch like that, which is pretty cool. However, the other hand has this little claw here, which can hold one of the bamboo discs. These discs are the same mold as the Throwbot discs from a couple years prior to this, and would later be reused as the Kanoka discs in 2004. This little groove here just slots into the hand, and second verse, same as the first, you pull back and release, and they'll throw the disc. It's actually got a surprising amount of force and accuracy to it. It's a really, really fun gimmick. Last but not least, they have a little gap in the back of their head here that will actually grip on to one of these protrusions in the back of the disc, allowing each of these guys to actually store the disc on their back, which is a very cool feature. We'll take a look at each of their individualities, starting with Jala. He wears a powerless Kanohi how in yellow. This was always a pretty cool part. You see, back in the day, I never got any of the mask packs, and thus never had any of the golden Kanohi. So this was a nice substitute for my Toa Tahu. Of course, his bamboo disc also features the Kanohi how. Unfortunately, it was very rare to find one of these discs that had the tampograph fully centered. Usually they were always off to the side on their backs, but I suppose that was never too much of a problem. Matoro features a powerless sand blue Akaku. He also has a bamboo disc that features the Akaku as well. Much the same, Kongu features a powerless Kanohi Miru in kind of a turquoisey color. His disc also has the Miru on it. I'm starting to see a trend here. Onepu wears a powerless purple Pakari, which sounds an awful lot like a speech exercise. The mask is also featured on his bamboo disc. Huki wears a powerless Kakama in kind of a burnt orange color. Very cool. His mask is also featured on the bamboo disc, just like all of the others. All of the others with absolutely no exceptions. Well, this is certainly different. Maku breaks the trend in many ways. First of all, she wears a powerless Huna, which is absolutely not a cow, despite the cow being featured on her disc. On top of that, her color scheme is the standard blue and light blue, just like her Turaga and Toa, whereas all of the other Tohunga feature very different color schemes. Not entirely sure why, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Like I said, she's very different from all of the others. It makes her in some ways more interesting, and in other ways just a little bit more boring. Let's face it, generally McDonald's toys are only ever good if they're Hot Wheels or Lego. And these guys are pretty great. They're really fun, they pack in a lot of play value, and they all have nice, vibrant, eye-catching colors that are very unique. That said, is it really worth getting all 6 of them? I'd probably say no. Of course, if you are a completionist, you're going to want to have all of them for the sake of having all of them. But otherwise, you're probably going to get just as much enjoyment out of getting a single one as you would getting all 6. Especially when these things tend to go for much higher than I'd expect you'd want to pay for them online. So that is about it, guys, and this is IXRolloutIX signing off.